Yo, JD here, and as you can see, we are back on F1 22, and in today's video, we're going to be showcasing a couple of lobbies that I did recently. This first one here at Silverstone, I think is probably one of the best 5-lappers I've actually done on the game itself, and this track has always been a track that I've absolutely loved. It's probably by far my favourite track on this game because it's the one I have done the most, but also have the most love for. So we were starting in P20 here, so completely dead last. Have quite a few fast drivers in here as well, among many members. So if you want to be part of this, get a priority invite, a guaranteed spot into these races because they do fill up very quickly. Make sure you click that join button down below because I am doing many of these over the Christmas period. But you can see here already making a very nice start up into P11, now make that P10. And recently I've been kind of really working on how I've actually been using my ERS. Quite often I've kind of had the strategy of where I just save it quite a lot. I don't use it at all. But you'll see throughout this race here, we're just using a little bit each lap, making sure we still have a bit of reserve, but just trying to maximise it as much as possible. Because if you don't use it on one lap, you end up losing just half a second compared to if you use 5 or 10% and still maintaining a high level of the battery, then you could really improve your average lap time by some considerable distance. And that's really what I've been playing around with in these hobbies, and I've been doing a lot of iRacing and other games as well, and it actually feels good, believe it or not, to actually come back on this game, because I think there was a spell a month or so ago where I really wasn't enjoying my racing on here, and I've said this to many people: if you're not enjoying something, then just step away, give yourself a bit of a reset, and try and rediscover that love again. And coming back into this after playing iRacing and other games as well, the muscle memory just kind of feels a bit refreshed, and I've just really enjoyed the racing, and that's really thanks to you guys in here and many of my members. The racing is very, very clean and fair, which is often not the case with open lobbies. Have a lot of very good drivers in here as well, and this is really the way I learned how to improve at the F1 games over the years, is by racing in open lobbies and just getting that experience against good and maybe some inexperienced players as well who do test your racecraft just a little bit. But these two guys up ahead here, H. Geno, who I've actually had a race with in a video on iRacing, regular in my lobbies here, is a incredibly fast driver. I think he has actually a couple of world records on the game, and I think he's on the PlayStation platform because this is a cross-play lobby. I'm actually playing on PC, but doing that a lot more recently since I've been doing iRacing. So I've kept it on PC, and it actually feels pretty nice playing F1 here because you have no input lag or delay whatsoever. And we also have Goxie up in the lead, who is a very fast driver himself. Also this Jan behind. So the top 4 here are probably the 4 fastest in the lobby itself. And you can see here now, each lap we're just going to use a little bit of ERS. So instead of just saving it completely, just using a bit just to get myself a little bit closer to the action. So you can see here, normally I would actually save it, but just using that fraction bit of ERS on the exits on corners just really actually makes a big difference in terms of momentum you're carrying down the straight. And if you use that a little bit each lap, you're still sometimes even saving the ERS at the same time. Because yeah, in the past I used to go 2 or 3 laps without using it, and then I wouldn't be close enough to the car ahead, and I'd be losing quite a bit of lap time, where I could be getting some lap time for free while still saving the ERS. So that's something I've been changing by watching other drivers. And it doesn't matter how good you are, even if you're faster than some other drivers, watching some things that they do well and you can learn from is really, really invaluable. You can never be experienced, and you can never be too good as well. You can always learn something. But right here now, I'm just trying to plan what I want to do for these last 2 laps of the race. I'm really just trying to let these guys kind of waste their ERS as much as possible, because I know Goxie is probably using quite a bit to keep Yeno behind. And you can see the guy behind me sets a fast up of the race, so just confirming he does also have the pace. We can see we've got a quite big gap to P5, so it really is a 4-horse race at this point here. And you can see what do we do on the exit of this. So trying to get a good run onto the exit of turn 4, using a bit of that ERS again, so not keeping it back at all, so just using a bit just to try and force the guy ahead to use his battery, so really try and put him under pressure. Now these two guys are going side by side coming through into here, and I was maybe sniffing an opportunity on the exit, but H-Gen actually gets a really good exit, so using a bit of the battery again to see. I was thinking about maybe going on the inside here, but again, if I did use the battery, then he might be content to just save his completely all at the same time. And I also want to protect myself from the guy behind as well. So coming through into here, I actually thought he disconnected for a brief moment. Coming off the exit of Magnus and Beckett, so look ahead. And you will see that Goxie's red light is flashing, so I know it's absolutely essential to get past him here, because track position, if you have the ERS, the battery is really, really important. So we're HNO's going to the lead, so I have to get past Goxie. If I have any chance of winning this race, I need to get past him, so go around the outside to get the inside for the far as he gives me room. And now we're up into P2, but we actually get a pretty poor exit, and a 6-tenth gap is going to be quite hard to break down. And there's actually a ghost car up ahead of him as well, a guy who's actually disconnected. The detection point is actually right here, so that's given him the DRS as well. So we're not in a great position, because I can confirm myself and Yellow are actually on a pretty equal amount of ERS at this point. And usually when that's the case, when the guy's got the track position and you're on the same amount of ERS, the battery is just so powerful, or the overtake bus is so powerful, and the DRS and slipstream is not really that effective. It is actually much better to be the car ahead. But coming off the exit here, he makes a little squiggle, so that's a little mistake that has cost him quite a bit of momentum coming through into this section of the track itself. So really important to get a good run, having to use the battery again, so don't give him any breathing room whatsoever. This is my favourite part of the track, so really crucial that we get a really good launch coming off the exit Magnus and Beckett, and we get a pretty good launch. He runs a little bit wide, going defensive here, but do we have more battery? No, he actually does have more battery, so his red light was going less, but what do we do here? Do a little dummy down the inside. That forces him offline, going out wide, so he gets a really poor exit. Going into chicane, what are we going to do now? Go around the outside. Yes, we do go around the outside. Tries to go in deep, he gives me room on the inside. Tries to go for the cutback once again, but then we're going on the overtake button, leaving room on the inside and going across the line. I don't think I've actually had that reaction on this game so far. It's been a long time since I've shouted and screamed. And yeah, that was an awesome race. And yeah, if you want to be a part of that, make sure you become a YouTube member, because I am doing these on a regular basis. But yeah, that was a really good race. And GG to HNO and Goxie for the incredible batting here. But you can see we've moved on to Miami now, and pretty much the same thing again. So started back in the mid pack, and yeah, just in these races here, I just felt like I kind of rediscovered my pace and enjoyment for the game itself. And again, my number one advice to people, if you're kind of stuck in a rut, and let's be real, you can't always be performing at your best, you can't always be enjoying, it's not always going to be rainbows every single day, even when if you're doing something you love doing. Sometimes it's actually good to take a bit of a disconnect. And as for me, I've kind of resetted my force feedback settings. I'm just trying to refresh my muscle memory as well. And if you're just doing something all the time and just grinding it out, then it's really easy to start to overdrive to try and push that new limit, and that usually leads to frustration itself in my experience. So I think it was really important for me to kind of take a 2-week break from the game itself and try out different things. And as for me, it's been for iRacing, and absolutely do love iRacing. I will actually be doing that still a lot, and that'll be featured quite a lot on this channel. But it's really important to just get out of the muscle memory that you're currently stuck in. So more isn't always better. It's about the quality rather than the quantity itself. And jumping back on this now, I've actually set quite a few PBs when I come back on here. Just having a different approach with my driving, so not just with the ERS, but the way I'm using the brakes, going on the throttle itself. All these little things are really hard to think about when you're kind of stuck in that muscle memory all the time. So that's something I can't really stress enough. But if you ever have any questions or any advice or anything at all, then feel free to post it down below. As we're now going side by side with General Jake, so whoever blinks first at the end of the straight doesn't give me room, he gives me just enough room, and then we're going to get the inside for this right-hander. So that was a very nice overtake here. GG to Jake, another regular in one of my lobbies. And yeah, I was just driving really well here. Haven't driven this well for, I would say, quite a considerable amount of time. Just confidence is everything, and it's really the mood you're in as well, which I think is quite important. If you're enjoying something, then you're usually going to be performing to your potential much more, and that's something that's really important to me, and I think I've seen it in many other people as well. I don't think you'll ever get to your potential unless you're actively having fun in what you're doing, believe it or not. It sounds really simple, but believe me, there are a lot of people out there who actually don't enjoy what they do. They just do it for other benefits, and I think that's really the key to success in many things. If you are having fun and enjoying it and you have a passion for it, then it's going to translate well, and people will be able to see that as well. So if there's any goals you have in your life or anything at all, which I know we're kind of getting away from the game itself, and it might sound a bit cheesy, but yeah, this is just some advice to give other people. If you've got a goal and something you really want to achieve, then yeah, it's important to do the hard work, but make sure you actually enjoy the process and the journey as well. And just have patience, because good things really do take time, no matter in what you're trying to do in your life itself. So yeah, hopefully that's actually giving a bit of advice to some people itself. But right here now, we're up into P3 behind Lewis F002. If I can say it correctly, and on this track it's really important to save your battery as well, because it's really hard to recover. And I was running really low downforce here. I think I was running 3-1 wings or something like that, which is absolutely crazy. But then coming into this last corner, it's so hard to spot your braking point, because you're really relying on the curb on the right, and with the trees, the shadow of the trees going above the curb, it's really hard to kind of spot where to brake. So went a little bit deep in here, which is a shame, because I felt like if we hadn't done that, then maybe we could have caught up to Martin LPs, who's another very fast driver who I've raced with on a regular basis. But we're just going to be patient here and see what we can do coming towards the end of this race. And it's a big shame that this track actually wasn't in F1 Esports. They decided to go with Kota, but I think it would have been great to have this around Miami, and I really do hope for F1 Esports in the future. One of the main things I want to see is a bit of a mix of the calendar itself, because for the last 3 years, it's the 12 tracks have pretty much been the same, apart from maybe a couple of changes each year. So I'd really like to see a bit of diversity, just a bit of a mix-up in the tracks. And this year in Esports I thought was quite entertaining, but I do think with the tyre modelling and basically the durability of both the mediums and the hards, and really the inability to use the softs at all, since there is no safety car as well, did make the racing a bit mundane at times. It was only really when there was a pit stop or something like that where there was quite a lot of action. But yeah, hopefully next game there will be a few changes in terms of the balancing of the game, because that's something I discussed in one of my recent videos that I really hope they do fix. But coming into here now, see the gap is 3.3 seconds up to the leader, so let's see what kind of pace we have. And this is actually one of the best laps I've done around Miami in a 5-lapper as well. So coming through into this first sector, missing a little bit of this apex here, but hooking the car on the right, going over this F1, trying to use all the track coming through here, just making sure we're not exploiting track limits. Use the curb on the exit of this left-hander, and let the straight line speed of the downforce do the work for us. And you can see in a straight line, looking at the delta to the leader, it is coming down pretty rapidly at this stage. So just before the 100-meter board, trying to kiss this cup on the inside, keep up the minimum speed as much as you can going through this right-hander. And I absolutely do love the chicane. It's a bit of random in terms of the track limits, but this time we couldn't have really done it any better than that. You can see the amount of time we have gained coming through here. So a double purple sector 1, purple sector 2. Let's see if we can make it 3, and using all of that ERS, so you can see how quickly that is extinguished around this track. This time we do spot the breaking point pretty nicely, using our 3rd gear, 4th gear, just to try and minimize that wheel spin as much as you can, and going across the line. What lap time is this going to be? It's going to be a 28.1, so it's only a green last sector, but a very, very nice lap time in the end. But that is it for today's video. I really hope you enjoyed that, and please join me for some open lobbies. Make sure you follow me on Instagram as well, because I do announce when I do the open lobbies, but they do fill up fairly quickly themselves, because there is only 20 drivers at the end of the day. So I really hope that you enjoy your Christmas, because next video is probably going to be after Christmas after this. So I really hope you have a great time with your family and your friends. Make sure you keep safe. Thank you so much for the support on the channel, and I will be catching you very, very soon. Peace.